How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Karis, and you were watching You Don't Scare Me. And today we're going to be checking out some scary ghost videos, some top 5 scary ghost videos, some top 5 ghosts. Now, I'm gonna put an asterisk there, a little caveat. Despite it being top 5 ghosts, and despite these being the top 5 scary ghost videos that are truly terrifying, they don't tend to be ghost videos. And that's kind of a little bit frustrating, I'm finding, when I'm looking for content to cover. I'm finding that more and more and more often that there are no actual ghosts in these videos, and then they're just it's more like spooky situations that happened. So if you guys have any ghost videos you want us to check out, send them to Nick because I don't check my messages. Okay, let's get into it. No, but seriously though, if you guys do have some videos that you think are that we should cover, feel free to email them to youdontscaremeyt@gmail.com, or you can drop them in the comments below or direct message if that's still a thing. I'm not really sure. I'm getting a little older, so I'm not with it anymore. But yeah, Nick reads every single one of the comments that come out. I set it and forget it in a way, mostly just because I'm lazy. So Nick will tell me if there are comments that I need to respond to, or he'll let me know if there's anything going on. But yeah, you might have noticed last week I forgot to record an episode. That's my bad. Like I said, I record these the day before, I edit them, and I upload them within like 24 hours. I have a really short turnaround, and I will record a couple extra just to get ahead of the game a little bit. This is just kind of how I like to do things. I like to be on the button, right? So like this episode came out 2 days ago. By the time it releases on YouTube, it'll be 3 days ago, so it's very relevant. But without further ado, let's watch some things that have nothing to do with ghosts.
A man, excited for his
A
long
man chooses
set up
a
a camera
snake
in his
or
home to keep an eye on
birds.
his beloved cats while he was
I
away.
use that joke way too often.
Everything seemed perfectly normal.
If you guys can hear the audio in the
until he
background,
reviewed
I
the footage.
apologize for that. I'm trying. I'll keep the volume a little lower, but my earbuds aren't connecting, so there's a third cat. Is that the ghost? Is that the paranormal? Is that the whole paranormal thing?
In the background, the corner of a pillow suddenly lifts and shifts, despite the fact that neither cat was touching it.
Right.
There's no
So
visible
the cats are
force,
interested in that
no
because they're
drag,
wondering what you're doing
no
underneath
reason
the
for
bed.
it to
Actually,
move on its own.
maybe I'll do it like Nick does. The cats are confused at what their human owner is doing below the bed. And so they've gathered at the side of the bed to just sort of be like, okay, are we playing? What's going on here? But in reality, it's just a guy who's below the bed pulling on the pillow and then throwing the pillow. It's not a ghost.
Trick of physics or something.
It's not a trick of physics. It's just the guy's like under it. He's flicking the bed or the pillow, and then he throws the pillow.
Shared an
Not
unsettling
a
experience
ghost.
that
It's
took
just
place
whoever.
right in
Yeah.
their own home. Had
Nothing else to say
started
about
as a
that one.
casual night. Eating dinner and watching Hell's Kitchen took a bizarre turn when they heard an unexplained sound coming from another room.
So I'm presuming that this is after they've started to hear the noise and they've gone to investigate. What a really tiny aspect. Oh, the vertical scene's not recording. Close that. There's no vertical for this one.
It's that toy right there. See? There's no reason it should be going off.
Toys go off all the time. On their own, all the time, I should say.
There's no one in here.
Let me, let's talk about this actually. So, something that you might actually find with toys when they go off, there's a couple of things to consider. One is the product quality, okay? So when a product is made like this toy is made, they're mass produced, right? And so that often will lead to the circuit boards not being compliant or like up to snuff. Maybe the soldering is a little rapid. They're basically soldering these boards really quickly, throwing the boards to the side, doing the next one, the next batch. So there can be some errors in production that cause things like shorts to turn the board on, right? Because you're basically, if you think about it in its critical sense, literally a wire connecting one like the switch to the power, right? Those are all on the circuit board. If you look at a circuit board, you'll see all those lines, connecting all the points together. Those are basically just wires that are buried into the board that carry current or information back and forth. So if one gets tripped or if one has a short where the two lines are being connected, it could turn on the toys, right? Things that can do that shorting are humidity, can deposit moisture into the battery terminals, which could turn the toy on, or on the circuit board itself, turning the toy on. In this case, It could even be a leaking battery, the alkalinity of the battery or whatever. Like, you know, when the batteries burst and the white stuff comes out of it. When the battery acid comes out of it, get your mind out of the gutter. When the battery acid comes out of the batteries, you see them in like every single Wiimote you've ever had in your entire life, or every single game controller that you've forgotten you've had, and then gone to open up the back battery tray and found it's full of this white, crusty residue. That is battery acid. That's the battery has burst, and that can still carry power. Right? Just because the battery's burst doesn't mean it's discharged. It can still carry power. So a lot of times what will end up happening is that material is actually conductive. It connects to two terminals and will short those terminals, either turning the battery on or turning the toy on, or whatever. That can happen with moisture, heat, age. A lot of these things can happen. So in the case of these toys, either they're set to a store demo mode, which allows them to make noise in the store to attract customers to purchase the toy, or there's a defect of the toy which is causing it to go off. Maybe that's a sensitive trigger. Maybe that's the toy was left on and has a timer on it, or that being physical damage to the toy in the sense of batteries bursting. And so what ends up happening is those terminals get crossed, they short, they turn on, and then you get what's known as a ghost sighting, or what do you call it? A paranormal interaction. When it's not paranormal, it's just a shitty toy doing shitty toy things. Especially when they're mass produced like these kind of toys. So
there should be
there's no ghost interaction here. That's what I was trying to say. There's no ghost interaction here. It's just a toy that's shorting. If you guys have ever had a Furby, or if you ever know anybody who had a Furby, those things went off in the middle of the night when nobody was touching them. For that same reason. The product quality was so low and they were so mass produced that the toys would short and would start talking to themselves, even if you had them buried in your closet.
That's when they noticed the noise was coming from the guest bedroom. As they stepped inside,
that's a guest bedroom?
Noise on its own. But as soon as the light turned on,
no, it's not.
The sound immediately stopped.
A guest bedroom is a bedroom that you have your guests sleep in. I doubt that you're having your guests sleep in such a mess, to say it politely.
Late at night, when no one was around, a seemingly
likely
normal
story
kitchen turned into the scene of an
unexplained event. This is a graphic rendering. That's definitely a video game. Digital kitchen. In the middle of the night, two kids are sleeping with a fan on. And, what is that, a desktop computer?
First, everything appears still. But then, without warning, the mini fridge door swings open on its own.
Mini fridge door.
No one was near
That's a really mini
no
fridge.
Vibrations. No sudden movements in the...
Okay, so what you're looking at here is a mini fridge that's opening on its own, okay? There's a couple of different things that can cause that. Positive pressure can open mini fridges, especially if... See how it's plugged in? Okay. We're not getting into the electrical aspects of this. However, let's do a very small public service announcement. Appliances should not be plugged into extension cables. They need to be plugged directly into the wall. You do not put them through extension cables because it's harder to regulate the power that is being delivered to the device if they are plugged into an extension cable. I understand that this is a very small appliance, and you might not consider that it could disrupt the flow of electricity. However, you can see that there is a cable. I don't have annotations on right now, but you can just look at the screen, okay? The cable is plugged into an extension cable, which is trailing down to the bottom of the bed. I see they're both on kind of like loft bed / bunk bed sort of situation, so it's rather high up. So that leads me to consider that there's probably even a second extension cable that's plugged into the extension cable that's plugged into the appliance, okay? So what happens is that you have, ignoring all of Ohm's laws and whatever, we're talking about like electricity regulation, okay? Electricity flows to the cable, connects to the other plug, flows to the cable, connects to the other plug, flows to the system, to whatever you've got plugged in. That's decreasing its power draw ability from sources like that, because there is a drop off. Power has to travel, right? Think of it as a. I'm not here to give you a science lesson. The easiest way to explain the flow of electricity is to imagine it water flowing uphill. You know, it's not so easy, is it? Electrons have to flow uphill to get to a certain thing, right? So the longer the distance, the more there's a power drop off because electrons aren't going to travel all the way down, right? So that's where circuits come in, repeaters and things like that. But in any case, do not plug your appliances in to extension cables because it disrupts the flow of electricity and can lead to catastrophic failure, especially with higher things. Like if you've ever plugged in a space heater to a power bar, you are asking to burn your house down. That is a recipe for disaster, okay? That is an extremely high electricity reliant device, right? If you're plugging it into an extension cable and that extension cable does not have a proper grounding source, there's nowhere for the electricity to go, and it ends up terminating inside the power bar and bursting into flames. It rapidly heats up, okay? Rapidly heats up, and then it melts whatever contacts it has, and then there's no stopping it at that point. It will continue to heat up until it ignites, okay? There are way more reasons not to connect to appliances to power bars, but just don't do it. In this case, all they've had to deal with is the fact that their mini fridge has apparently shut down and warmed up to the point where there are gases inside the fridge that are expanding. Just think maybe I've got a box of cream in there or a carton of cream in there, okay? And that cream is off gassing. That gas builds up inside of the refrigerator and then pops the door open. It's extremely easy to open a fridge when it's warm because the pressure is pushing outward. It's expanding outward, okay? So this refrigerator has lost power. It has started to warm up. It created a positive envelope of air inside of it, or there's a product inside that's molding or is eroding or decaying, and is off-putting gas, which is creating a positive pressure inside the fridge, which opens up the fridge. Okay. Freezer doors and refrigerator doors are harder to open after you've opened them. When you open them, the air expels or hot air flushes in. So it creates a negative pressure inside of the fridge because all that air is then condensing with the cold temperature. When you first close the fridge and you go to reopen it, it's going to be a lot harder to open because there's a negative pressure inside sucking the door and closing the air in. Once all the air inside the fridge neutralizes to the same temperature, you can open it again very easily. So this fridge has reached that neutral temperature and has opened on its own because there's nothing creating a negative pressure inside of the fridge. Don't plug your appliances into power bars. You're going to burn your house down. I promise you it's not worth the trouble. If you can't plug it in correctly, don't plug it in at all. Talk to your local fire department about that. I'm sure they have horror stories up the wazoo. In any case, not a ghost interaction. Once again, it is a negative pressure. Or the lack of negative pressure holding the door of the refrigerator closed. So there's positive pressure inside the fridge, it pops the door open. It's not a ghost interaction, it's just temperature variances.
Only 3 people were present that day: their grandmother, aunt, and young cousin. Yet when they looked at the image later, they noticed something unexplainable.
A demon! That looks like the aunt again.
A mysterious woman appears in the background.
So still images can be doctored. That's the first thing. Still images can be taken out of context. They were relying. What we're relying on here is the game of telephone. Okay, this original picture was taken. Somebody took the picture and went, that person in the background is a little bit creepy. That's probably their grandmother, her mother, standing in the background. Okay, they say we were the only people here. Okay, but that photo is then circulated, and people create their own narrative to it, and that narrative replaces the original post because that's one person commenting in the original post saying that we were all here this day, and then you have 2,000, 3,000 people circulating this picture over and over again, adding their own narrative to it. So to find that one post, impossible. To find the 3,000 posts of this shared creepypasta, possible. So anytime you see a photo like this online that's projecting itself to being a ghost captured on film, 9 times out of 10, it's just the original source material has been exaggerated, and then the exaggeration is louder than the original poster. I don't for a second believe that there's a ghost or some sort of paranormal entity in this picture. What it is it's native tribes. Being a little bit racist here, okay? The person who's pictured here with their child looks enough like the person in the background that I would suppose that the person in the background is related to this person here. It could be the mother, being a Hispanic, or my camera is blocking that person's face, so I'm looking at OBS to determine, to look at a little bit. It's really pixelated too, but this person looks like they could be of native, Hispanic, or some kind of Spanish descent. And the person who's pictured in the front here does also share some similarities between a Hispanic Caucasian sort of lineage. So I would err on the side of saying that the person in the background is either related to them in some manner or another, and is just happens to be the picture, and is in a posture and a position that appears to be creepy. And so the internet took that and
Ever
ran with it.
tied to the
Not
land?
paranormal. If you could find me the
The
original post where it
Just
was
Dead
the
Paranormal
first
team
time it
sets
was
out on a
posted,
chilling
then I
investigation
will
into the
I'll
smuggler's
readdress
house,
this in the
a
future.
location
But
shrouded in
9 times
dark
out of 10,
history
those kind of
and
photos are just
supernatural
they end up being
rumors.
that.
Hidden
They end up
deep in
being
an isolated
somebody
coastal
taking
town,
a family
this
photo out of
house is said to
context,
have
and
been a
then
haven for
the
smugglers
exaggeration
centuries ago.
becomes way more
However,
loud, way
many
more
believe that
visible
something
than
else has
the
taken
the
residence
truth.
within its
That is
walls.
a terrifying staircase, but being that it's very cramped and difficult to traverse. Is it these guys again? Is it the bald guy? I've debunked enough of these guys' videos that I no longer find their videos credible in any way, shape, or form. At some point way back in the day when they first started out, their videos were very slow to start. They didn't get a lot of attention because they weren't getting a lot of paranormal evidence. And then when they started getting paranormal evidence, they started adding more and more and more and more to the point where they're basically just Zach Baggins in Ghost Files or whatever. They're artificially adding ghosts to their videos to get more views because they are now running a business of getting views through ghost videos. Just the juxtaposition of what we're doing here, where we're trying to garner views and stuff by being logical thinkers. We will at some point in the future do paranormal investigations like these guys are. 1, to debunk them, and 2, for entertainment purposes. So we're going to be debunking them. You're going to get the raw files from us, as well as the ones that we have doctored for show. So you can compare them and go, oh, so they are all these different things. This is how we've done these effects, you know. We put this shirt on a string and hold it up on top of the banister. This is how we did this ghost.
Oh. What's that?
Audio can always be added in post. Always.
The latch.
At first, the team hears the door slamming downstairs and weird voices continue.
That's been going on loads. Ace.
Sure. So you have a static camera here that's set up, which by the way can be doctored very easily because the reference frames never change. The continuity is always perfect. And then you just have ambient sounds. I appreciate that there's nothing happening on screen on the camera, because a lot of the times people will say we just, we caught this on camera, and it just so happens they position the camera in the perfect way to catch whatever, ghost interactions they managed to see or discover. But in a lot of the cases with these things,
It's really
there's a fat lot of nothing happening.
It's such.
I didn't hear any bang there. That's probably because I was talking, but
What the hell?
I also want to say that
Lastly, the team records
I also want to say
footsteps
that
and
their
loud
responses
bangs
are
that interrupts
disingenuous,
their
because
questioning.
people with this much experience in this field
A
at this
concerned
point
user
should not be
recently shared
confused and should
unsettling
not be
footage from
like
their younger
concerned that
sister's
they're
room,
them hearing sounds.
captured while the family
Like,
was away.
you either believe it or you don't. If you're Sam, how's that a dog that's in a pair of pants?
At first, nothing appears out of the ordinary, until suddenly a cloth on the bed moves on its own. No one is in the room. No open windows. No
Okay,
visible
but I also want to point out the fact that the blankets behind this entity here, the blankets behind the entity are also moving, which suggests to me that somebody is underneath the blankets there and is manipulating this cloth or this fabric with their feet or hands. So this is the way that the motions of this particular situation and the motions of this entity appear to me, at least, to be what it looks like when I, in the middle of the night, am trying to kick
While
off
the
a
family
blanket
was
that is firmly wrapped around my feet. It looks like somebody's got their feet in something and is trying to like remove it, but can't. It does also appear like the background blankets aren't moving a whole lot.
At first, nothing appears out of the ordinary until suddenly a cloth on the bed moves on its own.
There does appear, yeah, you see how the whole blanket behind it moved?
Visible explanation. No one is in the
like the whole blanket behind in the background right here. Oh, hey, I have a mouse. This whole blanket back here moves. This is all connected. There is somebody under the blanket here who's manipulating this. This could even be a leg over here, actually. Now that I'm seeing it, there's a leg here.
Until
right here,
a cloth on the bed moves on its own.
There's a person's leg out from under the blanket right here.
No visible explanation.
This is somebody who's sleeping right here and is trying to knock this.
Or is there a more
rational
explanation? Let us know.
Actually, that could literally be what it is. This is a leg. This is a bare leg. You can see the leg joint here. You can see the mass of the leg, and then the position of the person is sleeping here. Okay, so this is their head up here. This is their torso. They've bundled themselves underneath this blanket here, and they're likely kicking off their pants in the middle of the night because they're they're overheating. But it's what it appears to me. They're kicking their pants off, and it's making a weird motion. But you can see that this person, there's a leg here. You can see this leg right here. See how it moves? See in these two frames? There is a person laying here trying to kick whatever this object is off of their legs because they're overeating.
No one is in the room.
Look, they're moving.
Visible explanation. Could this be paranormal?
No one is in the room except this person right here.
Lingering in the house.
That's their foot. No, like literally.
Activity? A spirit lingering.
Look, that's their leg. Their foot is here. You can see they've bent their leg. That's their knee. Leg, knee, back, foot. There's a person right here.
Explanation.
Who lifts their leg up.
Activity? A spirit lingering in.
Right there. They're trying to kick their pants off in the middle of the night.
Rational explanation.
Even the way that it lands is evocative of someone's foot. Are you stupid? That is absolutely moronic.
Concerned mother recently shared ear.
Okay, Nick's gonna have to figure out a way to clip this and make this work, because like that would make a really good YouTube short. But like, I'm being real with you here. That was
sat awake in his bed for nearly 20
stupid.
minutes, not playing, not crying,
anyway?
just silently staring at his pictures and toys.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap this one up after this video. We're only 7 minutes into this, or 8 minutes into this video. I'm here for 22 minutes, so let's just. Okay, this is just some audio or some visual distortions. Okay, so the kid's woken up in the middle of the night, and he's what? What's the paranormal effect here? He's woken up in the middle of the night. He's got he's having some kind of hypnosis or some kind of what do you call Oh, and you're watching him getting up out of bed.
Then, out of nowhere, he turns.
So this is a child without a frame of reference waking up and staring into the camera because he's seeing 4 dots of red light and not comprehending what he's looking at because he's a kid and is either being scared of it or awestruck by this like visual of the camera pointing at him. And then he gets up to go get his mom or something because he's scared by what he's seeing.
Toward the same corner he's looked at before and simply says, yeah. His mother says he's never mentioned ghosts, and at his age,
he's a child. It's the whimsy of a child. He's got the imagination of a child. Is this just
the imagination of a child, or could there be something
no, it's the
lurking in that corner?
It's the imagination of a child. Thanks for watching. I know this one was a bit of a short one, but next time I want to play video games with them. Okay, love you, bye.